Are you ready to make 2025 the year that you absolutely quantum leap forward in every area of your life? To break through your limiting patterns and stories, align with your visions, and turn your dreams into an actual reality? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. I designed a 5-phase proven framework to help you really channel your focus, take aligned action, and make the energetic shifts necessary for the radical transformation you're looking for. So if you're ready to experience the best year of your life, keep on watching. All right, so before I dive into this video, guys, go ahead and pause this video, grab a notebook, open up a note-taking app, whatever you need to do, because this is going to be a very introspective presentation. It's something that you're going to want to pause, reflect, think about some of the questions that I'm going to be asking in this video, and really do it step by step, because this is a process, right? And I'm giving you a framework and a roadmap. But if you don't actually take action on it and you don't do all of the, assignments and the things that I'm going to ask of you, you're not going to get the results. It's as simple as that. This is not about just creating some random New Year's resolutions that you're going to fall off the wagon with in a week or two. It's about actually creating sustainable behavior change, shifting your identity, shifting your literal energy and your frequency that you go about life with. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. All right, the roadmap to the best year of your life. There are 5 phases to this quantum leap process. I'm going to go in depth on each phase. So I'm just going to run through the outline real quick with you guys right now. The first phase is going to be taking inventory of your life and deep reflection. The second is casting your vision for 2025 or whatever year you're watching this, and what I coined your character creation, or stepping into the 2.0 version of yourself. The third phase is getting clear on where you're going. We call this setting your North Star goals, because this is like your guiding light, and it's going to give you a target to aim for in these different areas. Now, step 4 is your action plan and daily non-negotiables. Once we are clear on the direction we want to go in those different areas, then we can reverse engineer that into our daily action plans, our habits, and what I coined our daily non-negotiables. Now, step 5 is all about anchoring in your vision and working with the unconscious mind, starting to program your mind for success, starting to really cement that new reality into our everyday life. So we are not just taking the actions now, we're actually matching our frequency with our desired reality. All right, let's get started with phase 1, guys, taking inventory of your life. And for me personally, I believe this is arguably one of the most important parts of this entire process. And the reason why is because if you don't audit your life and you don't take inventory of your life, how in the world are you going to know what served you and what didn't, what you should do more of, what you need to remove from your life? Half of becoming successful and changing is literally just removing shit, removing patterns, removing limiting beliefs, removing people that no longer serve you. So if you're not auditing the last year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you're not going to be able to see the patterns and the stories and all of the mistakes you made that are invaluable lessons to take this next big leap forward. Right now, it's really important that in this process, you are radically vulnerable and you are radically authentic with yourself. This is for you. There's nothing to hide. It's going to sometimes be uncomfortable, especially when you're answering some of these questions and you need to look at yourself and be super honest. This is an internal process. So if you don't take the time to become self-aware of these patterns, these stories, and these lessons in your life, you will repeat them. You always do. And every single time it's going to get more and more painful, because God or creator, they're bringing these lessons, these challenges into your life to show you something, to evolve. And if you choose to ignore them, you're just going to continually repeat them, right? Now, my mentor, he calls this the dumb tax, but this is the first real question I want you to reflect on. What has not breaking these patterns and not learning from these lessons cost you up to this point? Think about it financially. Think about it in your relationships, in your health and fitness, right? In your faith or spirituality, in all these areas. What has it cost you so far? Now, when we go through this process of taking inventory, we want to do it in all the major pillars of our life. For me, my major pillars are faith and spirituality, health, family and relationships, finances, career, and service/contribution. If you want to add any pillars, you're totally welcome to. So what I did was I wrote out a bunch of guiding questions for you to literally write down, screenshot, or ask yourself. There's going to be a whole bunch of them. I believe they're all very powerful, but you do not need to answer every single one. See which ones resonate with you the most, which ones you feel are going to be the most impactful, and go from there. All right. The first one is going to be, where did I fall short on my goals, and what limiting beliefs, stories, habits, and choices contributed to this? The next is, what area of my life did I excel in? And what actions or mindset shifts led to that success? So the first one, you're kind of pinpointing, hey, what actions, what beliefs led to me not hitting my goals or hindered me from success? The next question is, where did I excel? What did I do really well that I want to continually do in this coming year? From there, what accomplishments or moments from this year filled me with the most pride, joy, and excitement, right? We want to feel amazing in our life. So you want to think about, where did I feel the most alive? What did I do that actually provoked these great emotions in my life? Where did I feel the most accomplished? The next one is, what positive changes or habits did I introduce into my life and how have they impacted me so far? What am I deeply grateful for right now? And how can I lean into that gratitude even more for the coming year? The next one is, what were the biggest lessons I learned this year and how can I apply them moving forward to grow and evolve? Right? I don't know about you guys, but this year for me, it had a lot of ups and downs, some of the highest, most beautiful moments of my life, as well as some of the most painful, excruciating ones. Some of the lessons I learned could be avoided, right? There's things I did that now that I've learned, the reaction or the effect of these actions, I can change them. Some of them are patterns and cycles that I'm seeing play out over and over. Now I'm aware of them, I can change them. So, what lessons did you learn this year that you can extract the value from them? Make sure you don't make the same mistakes again, and then infuse them into this coming year. The last one is, what mistakes cost me the most time, energy, or peace, and what practical steps can I take to prevent them in the future? What do I need to eliminate from my life? Remember in the beginning of this, I said this whole process, it's going to be a lot of eliminating, removing, unlearning. That's a massive process of transformation. A few more here, guys. What were the most meaningful moments of connection I experienced this year? How can I cultivate more of that in my life? We are human beings. We thrive on connection. Usually when we feel connected, heart to heart, like deep connection, it brings us so much more joy, so much more life, and it helps us thrive. So how can you cultivate more of that in this coming year? This next question is one of my favorites, and it's one that I've done a lot of deep thinking on. And it's, what fears held me back from taking action or pursuing opportunities, and how can I face those fears head on in the coming year? For me, a lot of it was doing exactly what I'm doing right now and creating content. There were some underlying root fears I had around that. So think about where those fears are, maybe where they're stemming from, the root causes of them, and even how much success you'd have if you move forward. What is the worst thing that could happen if you did do those? And what's the worst thing that could happen if you didn't? Right? Because usually the cost of not taking that action, not taking that leap and doing that thing is a lot more than you staying in fear. The next one, if I could go back and speak to myself at the start of the year, what advice or encouragement would I give? What habits, beliefs, or relationships am I ready to let go of to make room for the next level of growth? What is one thing I wish I had done more of, and how can I prioritize it moving forward? And then the last one is, what recurring pattern held me back this year, or multiple? And what specific actions or shifts will I commit to in order to break these cycles moving forward? Now, I want you to quickly pause the video, write down or take a screenshot of any of those questions that really resonated with you that you want to reflect on later. Again, this is probably the most important part of the phase, because if we're not auditing this and reflecting on this, how the hell are we going to actually make changes moving forward? We can't, right? We're just going to set goals, repeat the same patterns, and we're going to be in the same place next year. Let's not let that happen. I also went ahead and compiled all the questions from this presentation into a PDF document you can download in the link in the description, so you can copy and paste and use those as you please. All right, moving on to phase 2, guys. This is all about casting your vision for 2025 and what I call character creation, or creating the 2.0 version of yourself. So what I like to do is I break this down into some different categories. The first one is primary focus and intention for the year. So I want you to think about, what is my overarching focus for 2025? Is there a specific theme that I want to embody for 2025, right? Now, what is my primary intention that will guide all my actions and decisions? And then how will I measure success this year, right? I want you guys to go deeper than just numbers. People are like, oh, if I make 250 grand this year, I'm going to be successful. It's like, think about what success even means to you, right? Like really, really think about it. Is it freedom? Is it having people that love and care about you in your life? Is it your relationships? Is it making X amount of money? What does having X amount of money grant you in your life, right? Is it really the money that's the success, or is it what it gives you and the opportunities it gives you, right? And then I want you to think about, what will success look and feel like for me? What does it look like in my external environment? What does it feel like and here? How will I know that I am successful, quote unquote, successful, right? Things to think about. Now, the 2.0 version of you, this is the character we want to create. What is the 2.0 version of me? What qualities, habits, and values define him or her? This is one that you need to do. This is literally creating the 2.0 version you want to step into. So you need to get crystal clear on this, and it's going to come into phase 5 as well. The next phase is the 2.0 version of you. This is the character creation. And I want you to really take your time with this. It's extremely important. Who is the 2.0 version of me? What qualities, habits, and values define him or her? How do they live their life? What do I look, think, and feel like when I show up as the best version of myself? Right? What kind of energy do I reside in, and what kind of energy do I give off? When I meet someone for the first time, when I'm giving a presentation, when I'm hosting a call, or I'm with my family, or I'm with my friends, how do I want people to feel after they've been around me? Do I want them to feel inspired and uplifted? Or do I want them to be like, oh, that guy's sucking the fucking life out of me? You know what I'm saying? So think about how you want to show up as yourself. What beliefs does the 2.0 version of me hold about success and money, worthiness, failures and challenges, relationships, etc.? Right? Beliefs, you can think of them as governors. They literally control your life to some degree, because the way your brain works, I don't need to get too into this, is that if you believe something is true, your mind will prove that correctly. So if you have a lot of limiting beliefs and upper limits around money, you're going to self-sabotage and you're going to really struggle to get there. If you have limiting beliefs around your ability to get healthy and super fit, or to stay in a healthy relationship, or whatever it is, those are going to greatly hold you back. It's like you're trying to climb a mountain with a freaking heavy ass weight attached to you. So becoming really clear on the beliefs that you want to embody and you want to really believe, right? Your beliefs is going to be critical. And then what beliefs do you need to let go of or reframe? Now, I want you guys to take a few minutes really quickly and write down any limiting beliefs that you're consciously aware of and reframe them into positive, empowering ones. The next subcategory is living authentically and empowered. So I want you to ask yourself, what would a more authentic, exciting, and purposeful life look like for me? What passions, hobbies, and creative pursuits do I want to prioritize in 2025? Because if you don't prioritize it, it's not happening. You may say, I'm going to create more green time in my life. I'm going to go play basketball more with my friends. I'm going to go play golf or do something that fills up my cup. But if you don't prioritize it and actually work it into your schedule, it's not happening. Now, this next one I absolutely love, guys, and it's what areas of my life am I currently holding back in, and how can I start showing up fully and unapologetically? So powerful. The next thing is what I call your vision of fulfillment. And we're going to go through the major life pillars, the same ones from the first phase. And I want you to think about, what do these areas look like in a perfect world, a dream outcome, right? We already took inventory of the areas. Now it's time to actually envision what that desired reality looks like. We're going to do this in faith and spirituality, our health, our family and relationships, our finances, and our career, right? For career, if you're an entrepreneur, or maybe you have a side hustle or a job, or you're a trader, you can do it for the different areas. I know sometimes they're a little bit separate, but go through and ask these questions and really write it down in extreme detail as much as you possibly can. I say, if you can't close your eyes and visualize what you want that area to look like, how are you going to step into that desired reality? How are you going to embody it? How are you going to reside in that energy and start already acting as if that is your reality? You can't. It's impossible. Right? So get super clear on these, guys. The next one's environment and energy. What does my ideal environment look and feel like? And when I say environment, that could mean a lot of things, right? It could be the people you're surrounding yourself with, your community, your home, your actual workspace, right? And your environment should be filling you with energy, inspiration, and creativity, right? It should be an uplifting place. I know some of you guys may not have the luxury of completely designing your environment how you want, but what you can do is you can always remove the things that are not serving you to the best of your ability, whether it's not spending time with certain people, not putting yourself in certain situations, keeping your space and your energy clear and clean, right? So there's certain things you definitely can do to optimize your environment. This next question, guys, is absolutely critical to this entire process. And it's, who do I surround myself with in 2025 and how do they elevate my energy? Like I've already said, half of this process is just removing people, places, distractions, things in your life that are no longer serving us. And people in our environment is one of the biggest ones. So what I encourage you guys to do is to purposefully Choose people who are going to uplift you, who are going to inspire you, who are going to hold you accountable, who are going to call you out on your bullshit when needed, but who are also going to give you grace and support in the process. That it makes the journey so much more fun, so much more enjoyable, right? But what you absolutely need to do is cut the energy vampires out of your life. If you're with people who are draining you and you feel more tired, you feel unmotivated after you're with them, they're complaining all the time. It's a non-negotiable. Cut those people out like right now. Right. And you've heard this a million times, but you literally are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, which is why selecting your partner, your roommates is absolutely critical, because no matter what you say, you will be taking on their energy. You will see their habits. And if their habits are contradicting where you want to go, that's a problem. Now, the third one is, what habits or distractions do I need to remove from my environment to create space for my vision? Oh, I love that one also. On to boundaries and standards. What boundaries do I need to set to protect my time, energy, and focus? Right. And this could be boundaries in different areas of your life. Again, it's just creating space for yourself. Boundaries create freedom. Learning how to say no to anything that's not in your zone of genius is a critical skill to develop. What do I need to say no to more often? And what do I need to say yes to? Again, your yes should align with your zone of genius and your North Star goals. If what I'm saying yes to does not align with where I'm trying to go or how I'm trying to feel or the person I'm trying to become, I say no. It's that simple. Now, if you're a recovering people pleaser, I know it can be difficult to say no sometimes, but I promise you, by setting these boundaries and saying no to things that no longer serve you, you are taking your power back, right? You are not a bad person for saying no. It's actually a form of self-respect. The last one is, what are my new personal standards and how will I ensure I uphold them daily? We're going to get more into the standards in the next section as well. Experiences and adventures. What experiences do I want to create for myself this year? Do I want to travel? What hobbies do I want to pick up or, continue with? What new challenges do I want to set? For me personally, I have to have challenges or things that push me out of my comfort zone or things I look forward to. It brings so much joy and excitement into my life. And it's really easy when we have all these systems and habits and daily non-negotiables and things that we need to do in our business and our life on a daily basis to have some spontaneity, to have some things to look forward to in our life. It makes life worth living. How can I create memories that bring joy, growth, and fulfillment into my life? On to purpose and contribution. How will I make meaningful impact on the lives of others this year? For myself, this is a massive pillar in my life, right? I do most of this work. I'm literally creating this video. This is a portion of my contribution, right? It took me 6 hours to make this. This gives me a lot of fulfillment. It gives me a lot of purpose. I really genuinely enjoy doing this. Giving back, it's honestly selfish and to some degree because I get so much joy out of it, right? So how can you make a meaningful impact in others' lives and create more purpose in your own life at the same time? What causes, communities, or people will I support and contribute to? And how will I align my goals with my purpose to ensure I feel fulfilled? All right, moving on to phase 3, guys. This is where shit starts to get really tangible. All right, setting North Star goals. So let's define what the heck a North Star goal is. So your North Star goals are transformative, high leverage goals that act as guiding lights for your life. They're designed to help you make those big quantum leaps by focusing your energy on what truly matters. It's so easy to get distracted and to write down a ton of goals and things you want in your life. Instead of going wide and setting all these goals, go more narrow and focus on what's the highest leverage goal that if I accomplish that one goal, I absolutely crush it this year. Then you can reverse engineer and structure your life around becoming the person that's going to hit that goal, developing the standards and the habits to get you to that goal. And then all these goals are going to happen so naturally that way. For each major area of your life, again, set one major North Star goal that becomes the primary focus for the year. Again, here's the areas that we are familiar with at this point. And then we're going to get into these guiding questions to help identify your North Star goal. This first question is the most important to reflect on, and it's, what is the one thing in this area that if I achieved, it would create the biggest positive ripple effect in my life? That's how you should really pick your North Star goal. If I achieve this goal, then all these other things are going to happen as a result. And that's what you want to align your life with. What would truly excite and inspire me to commit to this goal? What goal feels aligned with my 2.0 self and will challenge me to grow? If I only focus on this one goal in this area, how would my life look like at the end of the year? Now, this last question is amazing, and it's, what scares me about this goal and what excites me about overcoming that fear? right? Your goal has to excite you because there's going to be challenges along the way. There's going to be roadblocks, and you need to be able to overcome that adversity and continue on the path towards that goal. And if your goal doesn't bring up a little bit of uncomfortableness or a little bit of fear somewhere in there, it's probably not big enough. So think a little bit bigger there. Now we're going to reverse engineer those North Star goals and we're going to create quarterly milestones. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that North Star goal you have and you're going to break it into 4 key milestones that represent every 3 months. I want you to ask yourself, what needs to happen in Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 for me to achieve this goal by the end of the year? And what would success look like at the end of each quarter? Now, I'm going to tell you what I do. You guys can take it or leave it. Thinking a year out, so much changes in life so fast. You could hit your goal early. You could have maybe even pushed it too far. Stuff happens in life. Things come up, right? There's new circumstances. Maybe something else, a new opportunity comes into your life and that goal switches or changes or adjusts in some capacity. That's totally normal and totally fine. So every month or every quarter, I adjust my goals, right? Because if I hit my Q1 goal way earlier, then I need to adjust those, right? If a different opportunity comes into my life and now more of my energy and focus needs to go into that, I also may need to adjust my goal. And that's okay. This is a flowing process, right? So don't feel bad about adjusting it. Don't feel like if you're off track, just throw it all away. No, don't do that. That's why people fail their New Year's resolutions because they're like, oh, I ate like shit today. Guess I'm just going to start again next year, right? Don't do that with your goals, guys. They're adjustable, they're malleable. Flow with the process. Now, again, with these quarterly milestones, we're going to break those down even further into monthly objectives and monthly action steps. So ask yourself, what actions or results will move the needle forward this month towards my quarterly goal? And what skills, habits, or systems do I need to focus on developing this month to hit my quarterly goals? Every month, you should be really dialed in and focused on a few core things that are going to move you towards that quarterly goal and ultimately towards that North Star goal. Here's just some examples of North Star goals for you guys in health and vitality, and I have some in career and finances, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Say your North Star goal is completing a full marathon by December, right? Well, your quarterly milestone was probably going to be, I'm going to be able to run a 10K by the end of Q1, half marathon by Q2, etc. Your monthly action plan may be, I'm going to be following a structured training plan and meal prepping for optimal energy. And then your daily action, which we'll get into in the next phase, is running 5 miles and stretching for 20 minutes, right? And then there's the same one here for career and finance you can look at. All right, moving on to phase 4, guys. This is where we are going to be creating our action plan and daily non-negotiables. And this is literally the process of transformation, right? Now we have our North Star goals. Those are going to give you your target and your guiding direction. But the most important part of this whole transformation is becoming the version of yourself who naturally achieves these goals. It's the unlearning process and the becoming process. So this is where the be, do, have framework comes in. I learned this a long while ago from a mentor, like 6 or 7 years ago, and it always stuck with me because most people think they need to have certain things like money, time, resources, motivation, etc., to then do what they want and finally become the person they aspire to be or to feel a certain way, right? Everyone's like, oh, once I have money, I'll be able to do this or I'll feel this way. And that's a huge issue because you're now equating your happiness with something outside of yourself. So first you need to decide who you need to be, who you need to become. Then you align your daily actions and your behaviors and your thought processes with that identity, right? That's what you do. Finally, you create the results that you desire, what you have. You don't have to get X, Y, and Z first to then feel a certain way or to become that person. It's the opposite. You become that person first by doing the actions. Then you naturally, very naturally and effortlessly attract and receive the have portion of this equation. So becoming your 2.0 self through conscious action. Every single action you take is an opportunity to embody your future self. It's an opportunity to build your self-trust and to cast a vote for the person you want to become, as James Clear likes to say. So by committing to non-negotiables, your aligned behaviors that reflect the highest version of you, you begin rewiring your mind and shifting your identity to match your vision. And this is what ends up becoming your standards. So the first question is, who do I need to become to achieve my North Star goals? So if one of my North Star goals is have a net worth of $1 million, well, what actions does that person take? How do they feel? What are their relationships like? What's their environment like? What are their habits and their standards? Who do you need to become to be worthy of having $1 million? What skill sets do you need to develop to have $1 million? What would my 2.0 self believe, prioritize, and focus on today? How does this version of me handle challenges, opportunities, and setbacks? This one is absolutely critical because to get to any big goal or to achieve anything big in your life, there's going to be adversity, right? And if you did all the work prior, these questions should be relatively easy to answer. But again, pause and think about them. Now let's talk about selecting your daily non negotiables. These daily non negotiables are way more than just tasks. They're aligned actions that contribute directly to your North Star goals and help you step into your 2.0 self. These are things that you're committed to doing on a daily and weekly basis, right? So when you're choosing your non negotiables, you want to ask yourself, does this action move me closer to my North Star goals? Does this action reflect the habits and values of the person I'm becoming? And is this simple enough to stay consistent, yet meaningful enough to create real progress? And there's a dichotomy here, right? Because these are things you're doing on a daily and weekly basis. So if it's too complicated or it takes too many of your resources, like your energy, your time, your money to do on a daily basis, then it may not be a non negotiable. So you want to find something that you can consistently commit to doing that is going to build your character, but that you can stick with. All right. That's important. So I don't know if you guys can see this. Hopefully you can, but this is literally my daily non negotiables chart, right? I wake up before 7:30 a.m. I meditate daily, 90 minutes of content creation. I journal, reflect, brain dump every single night, and I create my power list, aka my highest priority task to do the next day. Exercise every single day, 45 minutes, direct sunlight, no screen time, 60 minutes, semen retention, posts on Instagram, 20 to 30-minute conversations or outreach, live and breathe my core values every day and operate in a powerful state. I have my trading ones down here, and then I have some social media weekly action items down here. And what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to put a link in the description to download this, just make a copy of it. And please comment in this video once you start using this after a month, 2 months, how your life has changed. Because I promise you, if you stick to this and you fill this out every day and it's a priority for you, your life will change. It's impossible for it not to. And one thing I recommend is for you guys to favorite it and add it to your taskbar so you can keep it open on your computer and you don't forget to fill it out every day. All right, now we're on to the fifth and final phase, anchoring your vision. If you stuck with me so far, congratulations, your dopamine is not absolutely fried. The final phase is all about shifting your frequency to align with your future self, your future reality, and anchoring this new reality into your unconscious mind, right? I don't want to sound super hippy dippy and woo-woo spiritual on you guys, but at the end of the day, we're all made of energy and we are always giving off a vibration. Now, the frequency that we are vibrating at and giving off is usually dictated based off of how we feel inside, right? Our level of consciousness. So if you can shift how you're feeling on a regular basis and you can tune into that future reality and you can start resonating at the same frequency as the person you're going to become, that's how you can instantly quantum shift and quantum leap into that reality. And I don't want to create an ego death here, but once you understand that time is not linear and time can be collapsed, there's a much shorter distance between where you are now and where you want to go than you believe there is, right? So I challenge you guys to, after this, like, if you want to really prosper, start understanding the laws of the universe so you can work with them. Start understanding quantum physics and quantum mechanics, and your life will change very dramatically. All right. Anyways, sorry for the tangent. In addition to taking the aligned actions, we can use tools like visualization, hypnosis, and journaling to expedite the process of stepping into the energy of your 2.0 self. And through shifting our energy, we can collapse time to call in our desired reality more quickly. You don't attract what you want in life. You attract who you are, your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors, your beliefs. So you want to focus on feeling the emotions of your desired reality as if it's already existing as often as you possibly can. So for example, when I wake up before I sit at my desk to trade, almost every single day, I sit down and I visualize how I want my day to go. I visualize myself trading successfully. I visualize different interactions I have in my life, and I feel gratitude, because when I feel deep gratitude, deep joy, love, and I act authentically, that is raising my frequency and I can operate at a much higher state of being. Another component of this, which we talked about, is removing people, habits, or beliefs that drain your energy and pull you out of alignment. And I know alignment's kind of like one of those words that it's just like kind of a fad word, but alignment, when I say that, it means in congruence with where you want to go, in congruence with your values, in congruence with your beliefs, your behaviors, your North Star goals, etc. Now, one of the tools we can use that is extremely potent is visualization. So, what I want you guys to do is visualize your 2.0 self daily. This is most powerful before bed or first thing in the morning when your mind is relaxed in theta or in alpha still. And what I want you guys to do is use extreme detail, right? What do you see? What do you hear, smell, and feel? Who are you with, right? Invoke as much high vibrational emotions as possible. This is the language of the subconscious mind. It's going to change your vibration. It's going to inspire action and creativity, downloads, and connection to source. Now, you can do this visualization through first person, right? Experiencing it through your own eyes, or third person, seeing yourself in these different experiences. Most of mine are usually first person, but I try and change it up to kind of challenge my own mind to do both so I can really embody it from like all these different perspectives. Right now, over here, I hope this image is clear enough for you guys, but we have this scale of consciousness. This is David Hawkins' scale. And you can see here over at the bottom, we have shame, which is a very low vibrational emotion. Then at the top, we have enlightenment, right? So as you go down, right, peace is a very high vibration, joy, love, reason, acceptance, willingness, neutrality, right? So we have kind of the middle here, courage, pride. And then as you go down, the frequency of that emotion that emotion carries starts to drop, right? And it's okay to feel these different emotions, but we don't want to linger in them. We don't want them to become our natural state of being. So that's why we do things like visualization and meditation and expressing gratitude and living in the present moment, because we are going to be vibrating at a higher frequency. When we're vibrating at a higher frequency, good things are going to happen in our life. We're going to attract what we want and what we need, and we are going to be resonating with the timeline that we want to be living on. Now, I don't have the actual case studies and scientific experiment with me, but a lot of people I've heard say authenticity is actually the highest vibrational state of being or feeling that you can have. And that is just being who you are as much as you can, taking off your mask and living truthfully and expressing yourself and being who you are. It's so simple, but yet so hard in our society sometimes. Now, the last part of this kind of makes this visualization process a little easier, and that is developing 3 powerful scenes, right? And in each of these scenes, you want to incorporate attributes of the 2.0 version of yourself, your North Star goals, perfect world environment and experiences, and how it feels to be living your dream life. So you almost want to develop like a movie scene, right? Where you can pull these different aspects of, all right, here's the 2.0 version of myself. Here's my values. Here's what I look like. Here's the car I'm driving. Here's the environment I'm in. And you can add all of these different things, tying your North Star goals, what it's like already achieving them, and create a movie scene around those. Because it can be difficult in the beginning of your visualization practice to be like, okay, well, I have all these goals. Here's all these things. I just need to create something to visualize. Well, if you create movie scenes you can kind of always go back to, then you can keep developing them. And then they get clearer and clearer, and you can feel the emotions more and more as you continually do it. So that's optional, obviously, but it is a really helpful practice. Next, we have hypnosis and meditation. So using guided meditations or hypnosis to reprogram your limiting beliefs and thought patterns. And something that I've done, right? And you're actually probably going to start seeing some of my YouTube meditations and breath work and stuff like that, is I record affirmations that align with the 2.0 version of me. And I do it in my own voice, and I listen to it again during relaxed states. So I may literally read out my goals as if they're accomplished. And I may read out affirmations stating my characteristics and values and who I am. And I play it to myself when I'm sleeping. So now I just am constantly subliminally hearing all these incredible things about who I am, how I act, what I look like, what I have. And it's just like becomes a part of you, right? And if you do that over and over and over again, sure, it's not going to always rewire like deep rooted trauma and patterns, but it's going to be extremely helpful. All right. Now, the next thing is journaling. And I'm a massive proponent of journaling. If you've been following me for a while, I journal every day. I probably have 20 notebooks that are filled up by now. But you can do this at any time of the day. I like to do different things in different times of the day. The first one being the morning, right? And in the morning, I like to future pace my day. So what do I want my day to look like in a perfect world? I do some intention setting. How do I want to feel, act, and show up for the day? I like to express some gratitude, again, raising my frequency, especially when things are rough in your life or even really good. Like expressing gratitude is just one of the most powerful things you can really do. Right? It brings you into the present. And no matter how bad shit is at that time, there's always something to be grateful for, guys. Like literally always. All right. The next thing is affirmation statements. I don't always do these. Sometimes it depends on the day. But write these in present tense always. I am X. I have X. I feel X. Then you have your evening reflection, right? What did I do well today? What could I improve on tomorrow? How did I embody my 2.0 stuff today? Then pretty much anytime you can free write, you can expand on creative ideas or downloads that you get. You can express your emotions or talk about what happened during the day. Whatever is kind of coming to you, whatever you feel called to do, you can use your intuition for this. And then the last thing I do is, this is more of an evening thing also, is I do brain dump, right? If you're like me and your mind is going 1,000 miles per hour and you're like, oh, I got to do this and this and this and this, brain dumping is extremely helpful, especially writing out what you need to do the next day so I can actually get a quality night's sleep. All right, the last slide in anchoring your vision, and we are done, guys. Now, the last thing is really just a bonus, and it's a vision board, right? Some people like to do this, like a physical board where they put, pictures and notes and whatnot of their future life, their 2.0 version of themselves, their environment, what their life looks like at the end of the next year. I personally don't really do the hard version, mostly because I'm not very artistic, but I do it on Canva, and I set it as my computer background and my phone background, just because it's another way to train your unconscious mind. And when you're seeing that every single day and you're crystal clear on what you want, it helps you visualize even more and step into that reality because it's right in front of you. You can really feel it and see it and get clear on, yes, this is what I want my life to look like, right? So it is helpful. It's not necessary, but it is cool to do. All right. So I just want to really quickly wrap up this video with an ending prayer. And this is something that I do when I'm done journaling. I even say stuff like this when I'm done with my meditations or my visualizations. You can take it or leave it. But what I like to do is I say, it is done. It is done. It is done. Everything is unfolding as it should in divine timing for my highest timeline. And then I give thanks to God or creator, the universe, source, whatever name you want to use. And I say, thank you, God, for the blessings in my life, for those I see and those yet to come. My heart is open and full of gratitude. I will continue to move forward gracefully with unwavering faith every day. Thank you. Amen. However you want to pray. You can change this or do whatever you want. This is something I like to do. All right, that's a wrap, guys. If you found this video helpful, definitely let me know. Let me know how I can improve. Let me know how it's changed your life. Give me an update in the next 2, 3, 4, 8 months from now, because I want to see if you implemented these things, what your life looks like and how it impacted you. And go ahead, if you could. This took me a lot of time to create. Give me a like, a comment, subscribe if you haven't yet. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next videos. Peace.